Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. I hope you're healthy and happy. We've got Night Dog today. Doing a little bit of a replay analysis on this one. Night Dog sent this in to me. It's also kind of a weird tank, so nobody plays the Marcus Kigawago 53 TP. Okay, so working with Night Dog, I've been doing it for a while. Great guy. Initially, very passive player. So I did some gameplay reviews of his, some match reviews. Told him about, hey, let's be a little more aggressive. She started to do that, and I got some replays back, and he sent the replay saying, "Look, I'm trying to do what you're saying, but I'm kind of getting wrecked here. So take a look at these." So I gave him some more advice on that. But what's been really interesting, especially in my progression as somebody who's looking at these and trying to help people out, learning all the different ways that people play the game, is that he's kind of gone back to being more careful. Now, when I say that, I don't mean passive, because initially he was quite passive, just sort of letting things happen to him. And there's a bit of an element of that. So we're going to talk about it. But what I've seen from Night Dog in the recent past is a much more careful and considered gameplay. Now, it's much less aggressive than what I do, but it also gets results. So I don't know what that shot was. Was that just a random shot into the bush? I think it was. Somebody just took a poke into there. We're on Studzianski, so we're going to talk about that in regards to, all right, you're a more careful player. What are some of the things you can do as a more careful player to back up the guys who might be a little bit further up? And like I said, in general, I think Night Dog really does position well. It's just a lot of times a little bit slower than maybe I would. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. The deal with that, though, is that if you are going to be a more careful, considered player, and oh, by the way, many of the top players, top Unicums, are this way. Okay, they will get very hyper aggressive when they can, but much unlike me, they're not usually going to start that way. So it's not a bad basis for gameplay, to be quite honest, if I am honest, and I would like to be. So he's going to move into the south here in Studzianski, which is a map I struggle with myself just a little bit. I do believe the south part of this map is key, but you'll notice that he doesn't have a whole lot of help. Now look what's going on here. The 50 TP is Snipe-A-Lama Ding Dang. The IS-3 is behind that building. The Centurion 7-1's gone up. Now, we are middle tier, so that's good. We can handle pretty much everything we're facing with this tank. No problem. The 50 TP might give us a little bit of trouble. Potentially the OHO, but we're carrying a decent amount of gold. And I would like to note that we've got our hot dogs and mustard. Doesn't that look like a hot dog with some mustard on it? I don't know. And small kits. Oh, man, Night Dog. Put the big kits on there. All right. So we should be able to handle this, no problem. It's not really a case of, holy cow, I really have to be super careful. We can be slightly aggressive in this and be okay in general. What I would say about what you're doing right here, Night Dog, is anytime you're going to poke around a bush and allow someone to have shots, I would kind of be looking as I do that, rather than just poking my nose around, because this is a big tank, has kind of bad camo. If there happened to be a scout down in here somewhere, unlikely because of the set Centurion 7-1. However, anytime I come around cover and I'm kind of using a bush to look, I try to be ready to shoot. So it's a small thing. So that's what we're going to talk about. These little things that Night Dog can do or work on while he is being a more careful and considered player. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've really come a long ways myself in the way I analyze these things, trying to take into account players who play differently, because there's more than one way to play. Would I have liked 2/3 of this team to come south and roll them up? Yes, but that's not what we have here, right? It's not what we have here. Night Dog isn't going to play that way, and his team's not playing that way. So he's got to react to what the team's doing, number one. Number two, he's got to play the way he's comfortable playing. So let's try to look at some of those ways. Now, again, I would be a little more aggressive, but what's interesting is that you're going to find the red guys are going to push in, and the Centurion 7-1 is no dummy right now. He did not push in because he really didn't have the support. I like taking that middle divot right there and just rushing a bunch of tanks in there and taking them out in the south and then flanking them from the south. But we're not going to get that today because our team just isn't into it, man. Okay? It's not into it. All right, Night Dog. What I would be doing if I am going to be careful like this, and you were looking at the Progetto, I think I might have been over here looking for shots on guys coming in. You can see that the M445 is making a bit of a move here. Now he's in the divot and you've reacted, so I think that's fantastic. And I think I would just kind of sit right here. I would sit right here and I would wait to see if I can get a shot on that M445 without really exposing myself too badly. And we're going to kind of trundle in, and we don't investigate it. That was actually me moving the camera. So one of the biggest things I'm going to give you today is pay a little bit more attention on your cross-check to what's going on the mini-map, so that when you see lights, you can at least put the pip over and go, hey, am I getting a highlight on this guy? Or even zoom in and go, what's that guy doing? Now, he's down the pit, but he looked like, to me, he was trying to come up. I stopped it on my first review and kind of looked around. You weren't going to get a highlight. But the point is, you didn't even investigate it. So try to increase your cross-check a little bit, investigate those things. That has very little to do with a play style of being aggressive or even passive. It has a lot to do with your cross-check being fast enough that you see lights on the map and you see guys moving around you, and you move your pipper and go, all right, do I have shots? There's going to be a couple more examples of that later, which is why I wanted to bring it up. So we sort of move in, and then we think, well, okay, I don't really want to do that. I might have anchored the team by coming up here to this building and look for lights on guys on the back and maybe try to entice these two. But I do agree, I do understand, let's put it that way, why you're being careful, because neither one of these dudes shows any inclination to move up. The 50 TP is a lot like I would have found Night Dog about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Kind of hanging out back there. And now he's going to come in, and like many sort of average to bad players who hang out in back corners, when they start to see some kind of advantage or disadvantage, they charge in with, I'm going to say a naughty word. This is a nice little timing shot. Too bad he stopped. Well, I'm not going to say it. They just charge in. That's a fighter pilot saying I was going to say, but we're just going to leave it. We're going to leave it PG for today. So here he comes, right? Dun 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 dun. Let's just watch the 50 TP. I would be investigating here, Night Dog, coming up around the corner of that building and seeing if you can catch one of those guys out coming around the corner right there. You've also got the gun of the 50 TP. Here comes the IS-3 finally. So we're starting to get a bit of an overmatch here, actually, and this doesn't go as well as it could be, as well as it could have, because the four of you don't really coordinate very well. Happens in pubs, right? You're not on voice comms. It can be difficult to coordinate. I don't know why the 50 TP is sitting in the open, but he is. And that's one of your best tanks, right? Your best tier 9 heavy. And you're losing pretty badly, 3-6. So here goes the 50 TP. He's yelling help. He's just walking into him. There's no... That's unfortunate. That seems to have gone a little right and into the track. So at least you're backing him up. I like that. Just not quite reloaded. This is actually pretty funny how this goes down right here. Let's pause here just for a second and kind of consider the overall situation, because this is important as well, especially with this kind of gameplay where you're going to be more careful. The thing about more careful gameplay, one of the things, is you are going to take more time usually to win your flank. So in the time calculus of this game, where you've only got so much time, and depending on what the enemy's doing, they can create less time for you, i.e. they're winning another flank. You have to then take that into consideration. So a more careful gameplay style is going to give up a little bit the initiative on the time and the sequences as far as that goes to the enemy team, which is not necessarily bad as long as you're analyzing what's going on. And as I look at this, I go, all right, something really needs to be done over here. It looks like we have a pretty good overmatch. There's a near-dead T-5041. The IS-2 is a 7. The other guy is a 7. The AT-7 is a 7. And we've got a 9, 2 9s, and 2 8s. This little situation over here in the south should be cleaned up pretty much quickly. Knock those 4 tanks out. Hopefully survive all yours, because you actually got a lot of hit points over here. Or maybe just lose one. And that goes a long ways towards sorting this game out. It wins your flank and allows you then to relieve the pressure on the other one, because they are losing everywhere else. And that's one of my problems with a more careful gameplay style, especially if you don't react or realize that you have an overmatch. So this is another point that I wanted to bring out to Night Dog, is once you start to see this kind of situation develop, even as a more careful player, you can then press a little harder and take advantage of the situation. Now, you clearly need your teammates to help you out. It would be nice if the IS-3 had pushed up and the Centurion was a little more aggressive. But sometimes it's upon you to kind of get in there and see what you can do. And you guys really, even though the 50 TP was a dope, granted, noted, got it, you guys kind of let him just get hammered by 4 tanks. We're all kind of too far back, not really doing what we can do. And if you brought your hit points forward, it would really start to make those guys think about it. This guy is just like... I like how you scooted out and you tried to get him, and then he's going to come out and kill. But whatever reason, he just backed up, that 10 centimeters enough to where you couldn't get the shot. So you and the Centurion 7-1. Here, the IS-3 went up. That's good. But holy cow, we just really could annihilate these guys. Here's a situation. I just want to throw this out for people. This Centurion 7-1 could kill this guy if you just knock down the building. Just take the shot and knock down the building. The same thing could be said for him, but if they're not going to do it, then you do it. You get rid of that IS-2, and he doesn't get to shoot anymore. But he's using a destructible building for cover, and the IS-7 is just staring. Now the IS-3 is in there alone, and he's getting beat up by 3 near-deads. see, I think you can... And this is a nice shot. I think you can see this. You're getting there, but we gave up everything the 50 TP had, and now the IS-2 is taking a mauling. Now this has gone a long ways towards fixing it. We're at 6 and 7. The guys in the north stopped the bleeding. They stopped losing, and now we're going to go ahead and looks like we're going to take out this AT-7, who appears to not be using a fire extinguisher. All right, as a general idea, we got this done, right? We won this flank. We came through it with 3 of our 4, probably a few less hit points. I think it could have been done with all 4. Just take that snap, Night Dog. When you're moving from position to position, and this was a case of where you exactly saw what was going on in front of you, and that's really good. But when you're moving position to position, and you're not going to stop and aim, and your next stop is going to be in a safe area, i.e. down into this pit where there's no one down here going to shoot you, just take that snap. Whatever, it might work. And we move down here, that's good. All right. So not bad, we've won our flank. We were careful about it. I think we could have maintained a few more hit points, but hey, not bad at all. The DA is getting crushed. We come around this side. We have a nice idea that we're going to get a little sneaky shot on him. I don't know why you didn't track him. Those shots at the bottom of tanks are a little bit weird sometimes, I'll be honest. I think the 7-1 rammed that guy. So the Sturv is up there. All right. So decision time. Even with a careful player. This, right now, you have an advantage in the south. Okay? Your team in the north has a stalemate, which means really the only people who can maneuver are you, Tree. What this team should have done, what your team should have done is filtered through these buildings and looked to get back in here and try to take out these guys who are camping in the back. Put pressure back here so that these guys, once there's pressure back here, I didn't say YOLO, don't YOLO on, but once there's pressure back here, that takes pressure off these guys and maybe they get a little maneuver room. But what happens is, we just sort of come up to this building and now we're going to start snipe-a-lama ding-dong. And this actually works out for us. We take a shot, boom, all right, cool. I think I would have dabbed 2, but hey, you know what? Night Dog does not need 2. Night Dog does not need 2. He's just going to pin. Blind shots into there, I think, would be a player as well. The Centurion's sort of looking at what's going on, and now he goes that way. So the other option that I didn't talk about just a second ago, instead of going down into the south, is to fold up north, which is what the Centurion 7-1 will eventually do, and help your guys take out the OHO and whatever else is up there. I think the biggest wild card in this whole thing, the Sturv is a problem. He's up in that middle thing. So he's gonna have all kinds of firing lanes. The big one, though, to me, is that AC-48. Where is that guy? Oh, man, almost. I think maybe if you'd have had a gold, you might have pinned that guy. And then the Indian Panzer's kind of moving around in the back. And we just kind of snipe-a-llama ding-dong. So, careful player. We talked about that flank. We talked about where you could have gone. You're sort of hanging out here. So what I'll ask you now is, as we're all sitting here at 1G and the game's over, what's the plan? Right? Even as a careful player, you can have a plan. And the plan may be simply, oh, I'm going to snipe this OHO as long as I can. But since you kind of have time to think about it, there should be a follow-on plan. All right, when this OHO dies, if we can get him dead, where should I go? Well, the Indian Panzer's moving in. The AC-48 is over there. The Progetto was last seen in the north, so we're going to count noses. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 of their 5 tanks, which means only the Super Hellcat's unaccounted for. You know what? I think you go that way, and you come through the south. And unfortunately, the IS-3 is not there anymore. Again, this game is interesting because a lot of times with more careful players, and I'm not going to interchange passive with careful. Okay, careful to me is somebody who's kind of thinking about it going generally to the right place. A passive player, to me, is somebody who just sits in the back bush and lets everything happen to him. I don't really have a problem with careful players. Passive players drive me crazy. All right, so we're going to move up here, which means, you know, the Sturv's kind of a passive player. Although, at the same time, a Sturv, what can he do? Where's he going to go, really? That's about the best spot he can be. Maybe down in this southeast corner, potentially, but that's not where he is. And now we're going to move around here. And I really think, had you done this earlier, you'd have had a little bit better result. So let's talk about this approach. It is important how you approach. We're going to come around here, go a little wide. And we're actually going to go around the outside of the church right here. I think I'd have gone through the middle, because that would have allowed me to get over to the buildings faster if I started taking fire. Right here, if he's up in the corner, I take all kinds of damage. More than likely the Sturv's not. He's probably still hanging out near cap. So we can see Night Dog's moving in. Now here's the second or third time where I saw guys get lit and you didn't investigate. That dude's lit. There's all kinds of firing lanes in here. I investigated it pretty carefully. It didn't look like you had any shots on him, but you didn't even look. So definitely investigate those things. See if you can get a shot. We're kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll just come here, and there's still a lit Indian Panzer. And we're just kind of ignoring that guy. And those are huge. Watch people like Skill and some of the best players in the game, better than me. There's plenty of them. But they will immediately react to stuff like that and go, do I have a shot? Do I have a shot? Nope. And then they're on to the next thing. But when they see something lit, they're investigating if they have time. I would not have gone across the open right here. This was incredibly dangerous. The best approach is to come in through these buildings here and then try to get up behind this building and in behind this berm, so that if you do take fire from these guys, you can kind of get shots at them. There's a bush here you can hide behind. But this out in the open thing, if that Sturv was a little closer, could have been very bad. More than likely, he's pretty locked down on the Indian Panzer and whoever it was that just died, the Tiger, whatever it was that was over there. So we get lit, and now we're just going to start fighting the Indian Panzer here. We miss, and I don't even know what that was. Like, snap. There's the Sturv. That was a little concerning to me, too. You didn't even, like, investigate. You're on a reload. Just lock your turret and go, what's this guy doing? Maybe try to get a highlight. Oh, he's backing off. Okay, good. Don't have to worry about him for the moment. Now watch. This is the next thing I would do. You shoot. Okay, and I would, again, lock the turret. Yeah, good. You're looking. Good. I had forgotten that you looked. Nice job with the little wiggle and shake trying to spoil this guy's shots. I mean, I don't know what is taking so long for your Indian Panzer right there. He doesn't want to get clipped out by the AC, which I do understand. So the Indian is moving around. He's trying to hide in this. Are those destructible walls? Some of them are over there. That might have been one of them. I don't know. You might have been able to shoot through there and take that guy down. P-43 is coming in. Looks like you're maybe looking for a shot on either the Super or that guy if they light. There you go. Their S1 was not very aggressive, and that was very much to your advantage. You do get spotted, but he's not turning on you, so I think you do exactly what you're doing here. You wait. Let's talk about this lead fire. You're sort of center of mass. I'd have just put it back here. Put it back here, and then when it completely loads, scoot it up onto his back end, or just wait till he enters the back, his back end enters the pipper, and then fire. We're sort of chasing it a little bit, but we do get the shot, so nice. A nice high roll at 455. What is this thing, a 400 Alpha? 420, all right, nice. That's one of the things about these tanks is they do hit hard, these Polish tanks. So you're going to swing around this way. I like this. The Indian Panzer and you. Now, all of a sudden, we're down to 3 tanks, so it looks like the AC-48 had his way with your P-43. So we're going to come around here, and we're looking for maybe somebody making a mistake. You have to think the Sturv was doing something different than just sitting on there, because there he is. Because he can't just come up and over with you right there. You'll get proxy lit, or he'll get proxy lit. So he actually does a nice job on repositions. So he has to go into assault mode. As soon as I fired, I'd have gone at him. You cannot let him go dark again. You have to go get him. Even though there's an AC and a Hellcat, you may take a shot in the side, that's fine, but we can't let this guy hang out behind bushes. He actually gets behind something, and then you realize it. So I had to close the distance on that guy immediately. There you go. The Indians moving up, looking for shots. You did a nice job whittling down the AC, so the AC is definitely able to be hurt. I might have turned and looked and seen what this guy was doing. It looks like he's charging towards you. So now you've got that time problem again. You've got to get rid of this guy. And he's actually just right there. I don't think he was actually behind anything but rubble, right? Yeah, there was this building. So he got behind that building. Nice job just taking that shot and getting rid of him. Down goes the AC-48. And let's just back this up a second because I wanted to talk about this. The last thing I'll have for you is, let's see, we're going to come in here and kill this guy. And I want to show you what I would have done once I just killed this guy. All right, he's dead, right? And I know that the Hellcats are driving around behind me. So as soon as he dies, I may continue driving this way, but I'm going to turn around and go, when do I have a shot on him? And I probably go, oh, look, these buildings are here. I'm going to carve left, come in a left-hand turn, come around those buildings, and then take this guy out. Because I don't want him bushing up, right? But watch what you do. You just come in here and you're looking around, and then we're like, okay, there's some buildings over here. And finally turn around and say, had we just turned right, we'd already had shots on this guy. Just spin your camera around, look, where is he? Turn your tank right from this view, come right around that corner. He's out in the open, you got him. As it turns out, the same thing happens because he's just sitting there trying to get away from the Indian. Nicely done, and we take him down. 3,119 damage, 802 assists, and 3 kills in a very careful, nicely played game. So the intent then of this was just to kind of talk to the more careful players and say, look, even as you are more careful, there are a lot of little things, nuances you can do while you're playing to speed up the carefulness a little bit, right? To make decisions a little faster, to move from advantage to advantage a little faster, and then the technical aspects of what am I looking at? What's my cross-check doing? Where's my next shot? And you can do all that without being a sprayed roach aggressive player. And frankly, it's probably the best way to farm damage in this game. If you want to be a no-kidding super unicum, you are going to be a more careful, considered player who makes those decisions faster, reads the map faster, and moves from shot to shot. There you go. That is my my take on that, Night Dog. Nice game. Thanks for sending that in. I do appreciate it. That's all I've got, guys. We will see ya.